Hey guys, it's Carly aka Killer Carly. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing my personal experience with IBS, also known as irritable bowel syndrome. So I'll be sharing basically my side of the story, how I got it, how it affected me, and how I'm dealing with it now. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're coming just for the chat on IBS, make sure you check out my Twitter as well, because I do sometimes post some stuff about it. And if you have any questions about how I'm dealing with it in comparison to how you're dealing with it, don't be afraid to just fling me a quick message and I'll get back to you as I can. So stick around guys and I'll jump into the video. So basically my IBS started almost 2 years ago now. It was just before my 22nd birthday. I was just working, I'm a full-time dental nurse, so I was just at work one day and one of our receptionists said that she had gastro and had to go home sick. A couple of days later I went through the McDonald's drive-through and got a lactose-free coffee because I'm lactose intolerant and can't have milk. I ordered a lactose-free coffee and I drank all of it while I got to work, and probably half an hour to an hour after I finished the coffee, it started to basically come right out of me. If you're lactose intolerant, you know what it's like. It just runs right out of you. I had all the cramping, the diarrhea, everything like that. One of the other dental nurses had to go up to the chemist for me and grab a lactose intolerant tablet called Lactase. So I took that and it helped for a little bit. A couple days, well not even a couple days, it was like the next day I actually felt really sick with gastro. I had the vomiting and the diarrhea, all the cramping and everything. I couldn't keep anything in my stomach. It would just come straight back up. So I was in bed for probably 5 days straight. Took 5 days off of work. The pains and everything stuck around once the diarrhea and vomiting had stopped. So I went to the doctors and basically explained to them what was happening, and he said, well, you finished gastro, so I don't understand, but here's some antibiotics for you. So I took the antibiotics for the whole duration of the script, finished the antibiotics, and I was alright for about a month to 2 months, and the pains started coming back again while I was at work and I couldn't work out why. So I went back to the doctor and he ordered an abdominal CT scan with the dye. So I had to go take another day off work, and they injected the dye into the corner of my arm here where you would normally get blood tests taken. They put like a syringe in and dye, and I had to do a whole CT scan to see what was going on, because I have a family history of diverticular disease, or diverticulitis, which is also associated with IBS. So it's basically in your intestines, you get little pouches that kind of grow off the intestines, and they can get really inflamed and hold food or hold feces, and can cause a lot of the bloating and the pains and wind and all of that. So you just wanted to check that and rule that out. The test came back and basically the doctor just said I was a bit backed up. So he basically just said that there was a bit of feces stuck in my gut that wasn't coming out. So he told me to take some laxatives and take some more antibiotics, and the laxatives seriously was just absolutely horrible. I'd take it and I would be stuck on the toilet for hours after that. It was just not the best thing to do, especially because I was only taking that when I got my tummy cramping. The antibiotics, again, I finished the script and I was fine for probably 3 or 4 months after that. So this was now June, July, and nothing had kind of helped. The pains had come back again, the cramping, the bloating, the wind had all come back again, and just didn't know what to do. So my mum suggested seeing her doctor. So I went in, I explained to her basically everything that had happened with the antibiotics and the cramping and the bloating and all the problems that I'd been having with my gut, and straight up she was like, you've got IBS. And I was kind of just like, oh, that was really quick. And she's like, yeah, the symptoms you're explaining to me, the antibiotics wouldn't work. Basically, you've got IBS. My mum has a mild version of it, so it kind of makes sense for me to have it as well. So this was June, July last year, so June, July 2017. So I had had it for about 6 months by this point. I went and saw a dietitian to basically get all my gut under control, because it was always like really flared up, and I was having a lot of trouble. Like, I couldn't eat anything at all because it would just flare my stomach up, and I just couldn't deal with it, especially with my job. I had to be sitting chairside with the dentist for an hour, 2-hour appointments without being able to leave the room. So it got to a point where I was like sitting there assisting, and the pains were getting so bad that I was passing out chairside, and I was basically just like, I've got to jump out of the room now, I'll get someone else to jump in for me. And it was kind of starting to annoy him a little bit, I guess, me having to leave the room. But you can't exactly hold something like that in when the pain is getting that bad. And so I went and saw a dietitian, and she put me on the FODMAP diet, so for all your sugar categories and stuff. So the first month I did no sugar, no gluten, no lactose. I was lactose intolerant anyway, so I can only not have milk for some reason, ice creams, and I know cheeses. A lot of lactose-free people can have cheese and stuff as well because there's less lactose in it, but I just can't have milk or like thickened cream or whipped cream. Anything with a lot more lactose in it I can't have. So the diet was okay for the first month. I found it a bit difficult being gluten-free. So I did that, and then every 2 weeks every week I would start reintroducing a new sugar group in. So whether it was your fructose or all your other sugar ones, like certain fruits have certain sugar groups in them. So 1 week it would be light cheese, and the next week it would be grapes or watermelon or something to do with that sugar group. I would start reintroducing just to work out what set me off. But right at the beginning, kind of everything set me off. Like, I couldn't have like the most basic foods at lunch without having to leave the room straight afterwards. It was just setting me off straight away. So it kind of didn't really help, I guess. I think it did help in some ways. Like, there was some things that I found that I could eat, and some things that I found that I couldn't eat. So I did that, finished that, and I found, yes, it had helped a little bit. At the same time I was seeing the dietitian, I was also seeing a psychologist, because a lot of you may know, if you do have IBS, it brings a lot of stress and anxiety into your life. I wasn't much of a stressor, and I never had anxiety before IBS. It all for me came on after. So I was having panic attacks at work almost every day, like after lunch when all my pains and everything was at its worst. I was basically having 2 or 3 panic attacks a week. So I was seeing a psychologist to help me basically control it a little bit more. So breathing exercises for the pain, kind of imagining it as as an actual object. So for me, it was like thinking about my pains was like a little man inside punching my insides, because that's how it felt for me, just like a constant pain, pulsating pain through my gut. So that did help also. So breathing exercises and visualizing the pain as an actual object or thing or whatever, that helped quite a lot. I was also told to take a mint oil tablet called Mintec. You take that half an hour before food 3 times a day. I was taking it in the morning and then at lunchtime. I found I didn't really need to take it at dinner time, so I started taking that every single day and started to really rely on that. So I did that until January. In January this year, I had my wisdom teeth taken out, so I was put under in the hospital for that. So after having my wisdom teeth out, I couldn't really eat anything. Everything I basically put into my body was a liquid for the first 3 days, and then I started on really soft foods, like I had a KFC mashed potato and gravy, or scrambled eggs, or just other little soft things like that, soups and everything like that. So that was me for day 5, 6 after having my wisdom teeth out. By day 7, I kind of started to eat a little bit better, and then day 8, I went back to work. So I was only off work for a week, but I found that not having any solid foods actually really helped my gut. I felt after that period I could eat a lot more food, whereas before I wasn't able to. Like I wasn't able to eat anything with too much sugar, or anything with yeah, I couldn't even have anything with a lot of gluten. Like I couldn't have a pizza or a toasted sandwich. I had to go on a special bread that a bakery used to make. And then after my wisdom teeth, everything kind of started to feel better, and I was like, oh awesome, I'm finally starting to feel better. Even though all my energy and all my energy levels hadn't come back, I was still starting to feel a little bit better about myself, because my symptoms had started to subside a little bit. Like the pain wasn't as bad, I wasn't running to the toilet out of the room every day, I was starting to control it better, and it has been working until one day I had a really bad flare-up, or IBS attack, or episode, or whatever people like to call it. I like to call it a flare-up. Had a really bad flare-up for a whole week and a half, where just every day it was just diarrhea, just constantly, and I just couldn't work out what it was. And so I saw on Facebook a nutrition place around the corner from my house put up on Facebook about being able to help with IBS. So I went in and spoke to the main guy there, James, and he said, alright, well basically everything you described to me has come down to your stress and anxiety flaring up my IBS. So he put me on some tablets called Court RX by ATP Science. It was originally invented for people that are bodybuilders or are big into fitness and are always taking like pre-workouts and BCAAs and lots of coffee during the day to keep their energy levels up. And basically it helps to level out your stress levels and adrenal glands, so that you're not so hyped up all the time. It's kind of just to relax you and bring you back down to a level without you completely crashing, because once you have, say, a double shot coffee in the morning, once that's worn off, you crash and you're tired and you want to have another one. So Court RX kind of helps with that. So he recommended I go on that for a little while, basically to help suppress my my stress. My cortisol gland is what it's called, my cortisol hormone. So I went on that for a week, and basically straight away I noticed I was not as stressed. I was kind of a lot more relaxed in how I was working. I wasn't so worked up all the time. Like I would go into work most mornings and my heart was just like fluttering. I had heart palpitations just from my gut being upset. And I was finding that that wasn't happening while I was taking this tablet. And actually the first time I took it, I still had that feeling, but it was like I just had a triple shot coffee. And I was like, oh my God, I've got all this energy. I feel like I need to run around. So that whole first day of me taking it, I just felt like I was on a caffeine high. I had so much energy. I was just doing so much stuff, and I just didn't know what to do with myself because I had all this energy. And the next day came and I kind of felt like, okay, maybe I overdid it. I took too many tablets. You were supposed to only take one a day, but he said take 2 when you're mainly coming into your most stressful part of the day, which for me was in the morning. So I would take 2 in the morning before going to work, 1 at lunch and 1 before bed, because it helps you sleep as well. So I'd turn it down to just 1 3 times a day, and then I realized I didn't really need to take it at night time, so I was just taking 1 in the morning and 1 at lunch for the first week. And again, it was helping me so much with my energy levels and my stress levels, and I was just feeling so good. And then he also recommended me to take another tablet called Espefito. I'd have to check on which one it is or who it's by, because I can't exactly remember, but it's a gut inflammation tablet. So the stress one was to kind of calm me down, and then this gut one was to help all my gut insides with healing itself. So for a lot of people, IBS differs on how you get it. For me, I got really sick with gastro, and then that parasite that I got with the gastro just never went away. So that's how I got IBS. But for someone else, it could be different. It could be stress related, or it could be to do with if they're allergic to dairy, or they could be just like other things like that, like food related stuff. It could be. So stress, emotion, some antibiotics, which could have also been the main reason why I got IBS, because I was taking those antibiotics for a month's time after the gastro. Between the gastro and the antibiotics could have helped this parasite just really settle into my gut. So the Espefito is there to help all my gut inflammation, and I was taking that twice a day, once in the morning and once at night time. But then after taking it for 2 or 3 weeks along with the Court RX, I started to notice that I was getting like really bloated down below, like in my lower stomach and stuff. I was getting extremely bloated, and then I started to get a lot of heartburn, like burning in your chest, and then I started to get reflux, and it just wasn't a good thing for me to have reflux at such a young age. I don't know, for some people they do have it at such a young age because they might just have it from, you know, their stomach acid just coming up, or they might have it because they're lactose intolerant, or because they're celiac, or something else triggers reflux. But for me, it was taking one of these tablets. So in the last 2 weeks now, I have stopped taking the Court RX. Basically, I felt I didn't need to take it now that my stomach is kind of under control. So I stopped taking that, and I would only really take it if I really felt too worked up, like I was getting really stressed or anxious at work. Then I would take it, but I wasn't taking it 3 times a day like I was before, or 2 times a day like I was before. So now I'm just taking this Espefito tablet to help my gut. It was that has been giving me the heartburn and the reflux, but in the next coming days, I'm actually going to be seeing a gastroenterologist, the specialist. I booked the appointment like 2 months ago, and it's finally here. So I'll finally be able to find out like how to help it more. But that's my whole thing. Like, I don't want to be putting up with the pain and the diarrhea or the constipation or the wind for basically while I'm at work. You know, I can't keep leaving the room just because I need to let some wind go or anything like that. So I just want to go see the specialist to make sure I'm doing the right things, I'm eating the right things, and that kind of thing. We had a pasta dish for dinner during the week last week, and I was really worked up after that. And it also gets really worked up when we have like spaghetti or another pasta dish, or if we have like pizza and garlic bread. I find that I'm really worked up and I get a flare up, but it's only for like once and then it goes away. So I'm kind of starting to think that maybe my flare-ups might have something to do with carbohydrates, maybe something that is in a lot of bread, or is in dough, or is also in pasta and stuff like that, because that's mostly when I'm getting my flare-ups at the moment. With IBS diagnosis, there's nothing actually in Australia at the moment. They have started doing some tests overseas to do with taking someone's healthy feces. Kind of gross, I know. Taking someone's healthy feces that doesn't have this bad bacteria in it and putting it into someone that does have the bad bacteria. Kind of sounds really gross, but it seems to be working overseas, so hopefully we can get something like that here in Australia, because I think, you know, IBS is becoming a lot more, I guess, noticeable now. We're starting to pick it up a lot more, and in younger people as well. So if we could get something like that here, I guess it would just really help with everyone's general life. So hopefully we get something like that. I'm no longer seeing a psychologist. Obviously, I just felt that she helped with techniques to settle my stomach, but she wasn't really helping with anything else. So I kind of just decided to stop seeing her out of, like, on my own. I'm not seeing the dietitian anymore either, because I've kind of worked out little things of what I can and can't have. Like, I can't have too much onion on things, and obviously this whole new carbohydrates thing, I'll run by the specialist as well to find out if that's what it is. But that is basically my IBS story. It might have gone a little too gross for people, but I guess if you know someone that has IBS and or you've got it yourself, you're gonna know what it's gonna be like or what they're going through. It's kind of horrible to go through, but you're gonna have it for the rest of your lives, so why not look at getting something, I guess, to help it or anything like that. So hopefully this video has helped some other people that have IBS, or you've just found out what IBS is and you're not quite sure how it differentiates between different people. I know there are some other videos on IBS, so my story is obviously going to be different to someone else's story, but that is my IBS story. I hope it was helpful in some kind of way, at least. But yes, if you do have any questions, like I said at the beginning of the video, don't hesitate to ask, because I will try and answer as best as I can, or if you leave any comments down below, I will try and reply to those. So thanks for stopping by and listening to my story, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks guys, enjoy the rest of your day, bye.